Welcome everyone, my name is Rigel and today we're gonna talk about the national selections of Eurovision 2022. Note my wording though, I said selections and not finals. Therefore, this includes internal selections which had notable candidates. Of course, I'll leave out ones where we don't know a whole lot, like Azerbaijan or Switzerland, but as you see later, there will be countries with internal selections in this video. Or maybe videos, since we're talking about more than 30 countries and last time that happened, it took me more than an hour and a half, so don't be surprised if this video says part 1 in the title. And the way I'm gonna go about each country is I'll talk about the selection and the names in it, but I'll also mention the OGAE second chance choice if applicable and what I think of that, talk about my choice, and also give a kind of wish list of who I want to see represent that country in 2023 or beyond. Though, since I only started watching Eurovision in May of 2021, I've only followed one whole national final season, and so most of these names will most likely come from December of 2021 to March of 2022, or discussions from other more experienced Eurofans on Twitter. But before we get into each country in detail, let's get started first with my personal top 20 from this year's national final season. And here is my top 20 of the 2022 national final season. The entries with 0.5 in parentheses around them are the winners of the national finals and or the national final entries that actually went to Eurovision. From bottom to top, it goes Regret by Jessie from Selekcja Națională, Stefania by Kalush Orchestra from Vidbeer, Anxiety by Felicia Liu from Germany 12 points, Secreto de Agua by Blanca Paloma from Benidorm Fest, I Suck at Being Lonely by Charlie from Australia Decides, Lights Off by We Are Dami from ESCZ, Rafaela by Very Brava from Benidorm Fest, Slow Mo by Chanel from Benidorm Fest, Call Me From the Cold by Rudaloop from Pabandom Mishnauyo, Heaven Is Sin by Good Job Nikki, Saudade Saudade by Mauro from Festival da Canção, Ciao Ciao by La Representante di Lista from San Remo, Mushkachina by Sarah Yo from Pessimism at Eurovision 22, Girls Can Do Anything by July Jones from EMA, Thank God I'm an Atheist by Oliveira from UMK, Terror by Tanju Guerras from Benidorm Fest, Gaia de Yoraria by Raiden from Benidorm Fest, Su Numero by Young Hearted from UMK, What to Make of This by Minimal Win featuring Elizabeth Tiffany from Estilao, Kumayaba by Isaac Sene from UMK, Fulan by Alvan and Alhez from Sevuki Decide, Rambam by Bess from UMK, Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors by Alina Pash from Vidbeer, Hold Me Closer by Cornelia Jacobs from Melody Festivalen, Yazinki by Judy from ESCZ, and finally Death of Us by LCB from Melody Grand Prix. And when we come across them in the country introductions, I might explain them a little bit more in depth. And before we actually get into each country by alphabetical order, I would like to mention that I'm not going to include Turkey, Hungary, or Bosnia and Herzegovina in this video, because I don't think they're going to return in 2023 or frankly in the near future. So I don't think there's any point giving a wish list as if I had any artists that I actually knew from the country, but either way, because I don't think they're coming back in the near future, I'm not going to be including them in this video. And also note that most OGAE second choice picks are actually just whoever came second in the actual national final, rather than what the fans thought should have come second or maybe even should have won. Therefore, some of these picks are more justified, others less so. With that said, let's get right into our first country by alphabetical order, which is Albania. With Albania, we had the traditional national final, Festival i Këngës, also known as FIK or FIK for short, which is what I'm going to be calling it from now on in this video. FIK is actually a prestigious music festival in Albania, which has been broadcasted for many decades in Albania before they decided to debut in Eurovision. And when they did debut in Eurovision, it was decided that the winner of Festival i Këngës would go to Eurovision and represent Albania in a similar manner to the Festival of San Remo in Italy, where usually the winner of San Remo would then go on to represent Italy in Eurovision. In the Eurofan community, FIK is primarily known for two things. One, it is usually the earliest national final in the season because it takes place usually right before or right after Christmas of the year before the actual Eurovision takes place, earning it also the name Fikmas. And second, it is known to be rigged. Usually even months in advance, local Albanian media will be reporting on a certain singer who may be sending a song into Festival y Congas, and then months later it is revealed that they have friends in the jury, and then by default they kind of win the whole thing, because there's another thing that's special about Festival y Congas is that there is no televote. Therefore, some have called Festival y Congas just simply a televised internal selection, and make of that what you will. But for example, Ronella Hayati this year actually had Angela Peristeri from 2021, who is one of her friends, in the jury of Fic 60, and also I believe some of her previous songwriters were also in the jury. And also, I think I mentioned this in the iceberg video, but Anna Jabrea, who you might remember from Albania from Junior Eurovision 2021, actually sent a random postcard to Ronella Hayati wishing her luck in Fic 60, while she did not do so for the main other favorite, which was Albin Ramosai. And then it turns out the director of Fic 60 was, wait for it, Ardit Jabrea, who was the father of Anna Jabrea. So make of that what you will, but you can't really say that Fic is exactly, a fair and balanced national final. But either way, with that, let's move on to OGAE Second Chance, and the pick for OGAE Albania has been Feje from Albin Ramosai. And honestly, my pick is also Feje, because when the songs were all announced, we kind of saw that it was a clear two-horse race between Feje and Secret, and of course, ultimately, these two ended up as the top two of the national final. But ironically, actually, this time the tabloids were actually reporting that it was rigged for Albin Ramosai rather than Ronella, and then, well, that turned out not to be true. But either way, I honestly don't think I would have chosen anything else in the national final. These two were clearly the two strongest songs, even though Alban's live vocal was a little lacking. But either way, I think had they chosen either Feje or Secret, I think it would have made a very good choice for Albania this year, though I don't think it would have qualified, actually, because again, Albin Ramosai's live vocal is actually kind of lacking. The studio cut is great if you listen to it, and then if you go and look at the performance, it's just kind of a flop. So yeah, I don't have much else to say about this pick. It's the right pick, I think. And though I did see on Instagram somewhere that Albin Ramosai actually called the jury, and I quote, communist jury. So make of that what you will, but either way, let's move on to our wish list, which consists firstly of Aralina Ara, who you might recognize from Eurovision 2020 and Fic 58, where she won Fic 58 with the song Shy, which was later translated into English as Fall from the Sky. And yeah, her song I think was actually really nice in 2020. There are rumors that she's totally not interested in entering Fic again, but who knows, maybe she wants to, maybe she doesn't, at least not for these few years. I think that much is clear. And also she released a new collaboration with John's Tears recently, who you might know is actually Albanian but born in Switzerland, on a new song named Dance Me, which is actually rather unusual because both of them actually kind of specialize in power ballads. However, Dance Me is a bit more like Katy Perry-ish pop song, and it's also very unusual for Aralina Ara because she usually only sings in the Albanian language, but Dance Me, as the title may suggest, is actually almost entirely in English, except for the bits where John's Tears comes in and he sings in French, which is even more weird. But either way, you can check it out if you want to. I think it's kind of weird, so yeah, make it up what you will, but perhaps we'll see Aralina Ara back in Fic one day, maybe we won't, who knows. But I think her 2020 song was really good. Even better if it wasn't translated into English, to be honest, but Fall from the Sky is good too, especially the instrumentals. And our other member on the wish list is Evie Recci. I think I pronounced that right. She was in Fic 60, and although her song I don't think was that good, her outfit was really good, and someone on Twitter actually described it as dominatrix on a smoke break, which I think is pretty accurate. And yeah, so I think if she comes back with a more powerful song or more unique song, perhaps it would provide a pretty nice change of pace for Albania, who usually would just send ethnic ballads. and looks set to return to that trend after their catastrophic failure this year with a banger. And I think that Evie Reci, who is actually a pretty good performer, even though her song wasn't that good, could actually provide a nice change of pace for Albania. And of course, we don't know the exact dates of Fix 61 yet, although we do know, of course, it will be in December this year. So I guess stay tuned for that. And I think we can expect Miru to come back again for the millionth time. He already tweeted like a week ago, I think, as I record this, that he tweeted, "What kind of song would you like to see me return to Fic with?" So yeah, I think we're gonna be seeing a lot more Marud in the next couple of years at Fic. So yeah, just make of that what you will. But with that said, let's move on to our next country by alphabetical order, which is Armenia. With Armenia, we have an internal selection this year instead of the usual national final format named Depi Fratesil, which was held up to, I believe, 2018 or 2019, but it was suspended in 2020 until now, actually, because of one, COVID, and two, the war with Azerbaijan, leaving them effectively with not enough money, time, or resources to host a televised national final. So they went with an internal selection, which is totally fine. And a lot of this information I'm getting is from the Greek news site named Eurovision Fun, because they have insider sources, and they are often proven to be actually quite reliable with some of this information. So I would take it as reliable. So other than Rosalind, we also know that in the selection we had some other candidates such as Athena Manoukian, who you might recognize from 2020 with Chains on You. However, this time she did not submit a song that she wrote. I'll get back to her later, but we also had Saro Gevorgian and Camille. Camille you might recognize from, I think it was Depi Fratesil 2018, where Camille came, I think, 4th place or something like that. I haven't watched it myself, but I've just been, reading stuff from other people, and apparently that's what happened. If I'm wrong, please do correct me in the comments. And Saro Gevorgian is a singer who is very close to the Armenian delegation. He's befriended multiple members of them, and they also congratulated. Well, I wouldn't say congratulate, but they gave him happy birthday wishes when it was his birthday, and he also won a song contest or singing contest in Sochi, and that made him very famous among both Armenians in Armenia and also the Armenian diaspora, and as a result, some people wanted him to go. I actually talked about the whole story of Saro Gevorgian at length in multiple videos now, so you just check those out. I'm not gonna go more into detail here, but long story short, he was not selected. And Athena Manoukian, she brought a song named Purple Sky, and I also talked about that in detail in my Iceberg video, so you can just check that out. I think it's in one of the lower tiers, maybe even the lowest tier, but yeah, you can just check that out. And I think she's actually releasing a new single in a couple of weeks, and of course it wouldn't be eligible for Eurovision unless it was a couple of weeks such that it was released in September. That's possible, I have no idea, but who knows if she has interest in doing Eurovision for Armenia again. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, but clearly her proposal with a non-self-written song didn't go down so well, in the Armenian delegation and such. So maybe she'll return with a self-written song or something, no idea. Another name that I've seen brought up a lot by Armenians and people following Armenian music is Lada Niva. It's not entirely sure whether they submitted a song or not to the Armenian delegation. But basically, they're a duo who create like ethnic sounding Armenian music. And a lot of people have been wanting them to represent Armenia in Eurovision for a while now, and maybe that will happen. I have no idea. Frankly, I should listen to their music sometime, but I haven't yet. So yeah, Loud and Eva is a possible name. You can, I guess, kind of look out for that if you're interested. But I will say one thing: they're probably still gonna be doing internal selections for a bit, because in December they're doing Junior Eurovision, and that's pretty costly. So I don't think they have the resources or the time, frankly, to do another edition of Depi Vratisil. But of course, we'll just have to find out. But either way, I don't think the winner of either the selection or the internal selection or the if they somehow revive Depi Vratisil, I don't think it will be a particularly strong entry. It probably will qualify, but I don't think it's gonna be going for a trophy or anything, because come on, even David Sarunian, one of the heads of delegation for Armenia, has said that it will be too expensive. So yeah, I don't think they're sending anything particularly strong soon. They might in a few years, but probably not for 2023 or 2024. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, that's Armenia. And with that, let's move on to our next country, which is Australia. Now, with Australia, they used their usual national selection format named Eurovision Australia Decides. I say usual, but it actually only started in 2019 and didn't even happen in 2021. But either way, they used Australia Decides as their national final. And as we know, the winner was Sheldon Riley with Not the Same. I don't really have much to say about this one, because it was just kind of lukewarm to me. There weren't too many things that really stood out to me. People praised Jaguar Jones to Heaven and Back. And in terms of the message of the song, sure, but I don't think musically it was really that outstanding. The staging was certainly creative, a burning dress and all that. But the song itself, I don't think was actually all that special. It's still like in my top 3 of Australia Decides this year. So, don't get me wrong, I still like it, but I don't think it's anywhere close to my favorites of the season. So, it's not. And the OGAE second chance pick is actually Dreamer by Voyager. Personally, I really don't like the song. I don't see the merit that everyone else is seeing in the song. Like, everyone was praising this as well. I didn't like it at all. The lyrics were kind of repetitive. The instrumentals weren't particularly arousing either. So yeah, I'm not sure what people see in this. If you're a fan of the song, do let me know in the comments below. But I didn't really like the song, so my pick instead was my winner of Australia Decides 2022, which was I Suck at Being Lonely by Charlie. Now, I must say, even though it is my winner of Australia Decides, it's grown off me very quickly. And so you can imagine how much I like the other songs. So, yeah, no. My issue with I Suck at Being Lonely is the lyrics, obviously. I mean, it's a dramatic orchestral ballad. Why would you use the word suck in it? And also, the rest of the lyrics were also just grammatically very simplistic, very easy phrases, which I think this elaborate orchestration certainly deserves something better. So, the instrumental is great. However, the lyrics are just really lacking to me. However, I still like how the strings and such sound. So yeah, is my winner of Australia Decides 2022, and it's also my pick for OGAE Second Chance. Well, my pick for a second chance, but yeah, the OGAE Second Chance pick was Dreamer by Voyager, which I don't really like. So yeah, with that said, I don't really have a wish list for Australia and Eurovision because I don't know any Australian artists. Maybe Charlie could come back with something that has a little bit more sophisticated lyricry. Is that a word? Yeah, more sophisticated lyrics would be nice, with some sort of ballad like this. And of course the staging should be improved a bit as well, because it was just kind of very simplistic, and I think she started off the song sitting on a sofa or something like that. So yeah, I don't know really who I would want to see represent Australia in 2023. But yeah, let's see what happens. With that said, let's move on to Austria. With Austria, we have a pretty secretive Eurovision selection country, so we don't really have a whole lot of details. However, what we do know is that they had a number of artists who sent in submissions for Eurovision 2022, including the likes of Candlelight Ficus and Deladap. However, our main attention is on a certain duo named Anger, who were essentially the last artist to be eliminated, because at the end there was just a short list of two between Pia Maria and Lumix, and also Anger was the other finalist essentially. And if you want to listen to the song, it's out now. It's called Das Meer. Even though they have an English name, they mostly actually sing in German, but Das Meer is special because they actually sang in English, German, and Italian, perhaps because they were trying to go to Italy, because they do live in the I think they come from the Tyrol region, which is just bordering Italy. So yeah, Das Meer is actually a trilingual song with, again, English, German, and Italian lyrics. You can check it out if you want to. I still haven't bothered to do it yet. I probably should. But yeah, they had a song named Das Meer, which unfortunately was not chosen, for better or worse. Who knows? I don't really have much to say again, but I hope that Austria goes the route of Netherlands in the future, and maybe dares to pick something in their native language. Who knows? But yeah, I don't really have much to say. I don't know too many Austrian artists. So with that said, let's move on to our next country, which is Belgium. With Belgium, we had an internal selection that resulted in the selection of Jeremy McKessie. Now, there really isn't much to talk about here because there aren't a whole lot of publicly known candidates within this selection. However, what we do know is that this year was done by RTBF, which is the French broadcaster in Belgium. In Belgium, they have a unique system where there are two broadcasters doing Eurovision, and each broadcaster will kind of take turns per year. So this year is RTBF, next year is VRT. RTBF is the French-speaking broadcaster, and VRT is the Dutch-speaking broadcaster, so they kind of take turns. The only recent exception being 2020, when they were originally going to have VRT do Europhonic, and then RTBF was going to take 2021. However, 2020 was cancelled, so VRT also took 2021. Yeah, with that being an exception, generally VRT and RTBF like to take turns, and so 2022 was now the turn of RTBF, and in this case they have selected Jeremy McKessie. And it's not really surprising because Jeremy McKessie comes from The Voice Belgique. He actually won The Voice Belgique, and he had said that after winning Le Voice Belgique, he has said that he wanted to do Eurovision, and RTBF is infamous for choosing people from The Voice, either direct winners or perhaps people who came like second or third or something like that. So yeah, Jeremy McKessie was chosen because he won The Voice Belgique and also said he wanted to do Eurovision, so it's nothing really surprising there. So yeah, that's RTBF. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that one, but what I do have a lot to say about is my wish list for VRT. Well, it's not so much my wish list, but just some names that perhaps would be cool to see in Eurovision for Belgium. The first one is Hadiz. You might be surprised to see that name there because you might recognize her from Eurovision 2009 representing Turkey with the song Düm Tek Tek. However, what you might not know is that Hadiz is actually a Belgian-born Turk, and in addition to Turkish, she also speaks fluent Dutch and I believe French as well. And recently on a Belgian radio talk show, something like that, she said that if the broadcaster actually approached her, she would be happy to represent Belgium in Eurovision. So, a lot of people, especially Turks, were very excited about this, and it might happen. We have no idea at the moment. But yeah, that's a possibility that, we could have Hadiz return to Eurovision 13 years on. I can't believe it took me that long to do the math, but yeah, we could have Hadiz return to Eurovision 13 years on, but instead of representing Turkey, she represents her other nationality, which is Belgium. That's totally possible, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Another name I want to talk about is Luca Kruisbergs, and if you don't know who that is, basically Luca Kruisbergs is the ex-lead singer of Hooverphonic. You might recall Hooverphonic from Eurovision 2021. However, Hooverphonic in 2021 differs from Hooverphonic in 2020 in that the lead singer in 2021 was Heike Anert. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the surname right, but yeah, the lead singer in 2021 is Heike Anert, while in 2020 it was actually Luca Kruisbergs. And actually, Heike was the former lead singer of Hooverphonic, but she left for a while, but then decided to return suddenly in 2021, and then apparently Luca was just kicked out and is apparently attempting to start a solo career. I'm not sure how well that's going, but yeah, it would be kind of cool if they could kind of invite her back to represent Belgium or something like that, but I have no idea. And also another name that I've seen on Twitter quite a lot recently is Camille, not to be confused with the Armenian Camille, which is spelled Kamil, where this one is spelled Camille. She's basically an artist whose style is very mid to late 2000s pop girly, think pre-Wrecking Ball Miley Cyrus, or maybe Britney Spears from the 2000s, something like that. And but the twist is that she pretty much only sings in Dutch, which is very interesting. And some people are jokingly saying that she could win Eurovision or something like that. I don't know about that, but she does seem interesting, so I guess that's a name you could look out for, perhaps. And another thing about Belgium Eurovision 2023 is that I don't think Brussels is hosting. I think realistically we're not going to Brussels in 2023, and the simple reason is that why would they? Yes, the EBU does say there are no hard and fast rules to determine blah blah blah, but the fact of the matter is that Belgium didn't come anywhere near the top 5 in Eurovision 2022, so why should they get the rights to host Eurovision 2023, right? It's a pretty much unsourced claim in The Guardian, and then RTBF supported it, and also the city of Brussels also expressed support. But ironically, VRT is the one doing Eurovision this year, and they haven't said anything about hosting in Brussels. And even more ironically, the main reason Eurovision 1987, which was also in Belgium, was widely regarded to be a disaster, is because of VRT. Yes, that VRT pulled out of the cooperation agreement for hosting Eurovision just a couple weeks prior to the show. So yeah, it came out not that great, according to records that I've read. So yeah, I don't think Brussels is hosting. I don't know why anyone would think Brussels is hosting. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But I don't think Brussels is going anywhere near hosting Eurovision 2023. But of course, what do I know? Am I right? So yeah, another name that someone raised is Angel. Angel is a huge singer in Belgium and from Belgium. But the thing is, the little problem with that is that she's not a Dutch speaker. She's a French speaker. She sings in French, and so therefore it kind of falls more on RTBF to select her if ever they wanted to select for someone not from The Voice. So yeah, I don't think it's happening in 2023. I don't think it's ever happening. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But for now, I would nominate Hadiz, Luca Kreuzbergs, and possibly Camille for Eurovision 2023. But of course, we'll just have to see what happens next. And with that said, let's move on to Croatia. With Croatia, we have the national final named Dora, which is set to take place in the city of Opatija until 2024, and is used, of course, to select the Eurovision entry for Croatia annually. And in particular, this year, I don't think it was very strong at all, to be honest with you. There were a few interesting songs in there. For example, Here for Love by Bernarda. That sounded quite interesting, however, the live performance felt kind of like a flop. And the OGA second chance pick was Molly Zanas by Marko Bosniak. And I think my pick would probably be Molly Zanas as well. Molly Zanas actually came second in the actual national final, so I think that's why they chose it. However, another big fan favorite was Forgive Me Oprosti, sung by Mia Negovatic. That was it was kind of a Disney sounding little ballad, mostly English. The Oprosti part literally just appears like once. So yeah, it's mostly English, but it was co-written by Laurel Barker, who, if you don't know who that is, has also penned a number of other Eurovision songs, such as She Got Me, Switzerland 2019. So actually, 2022 was very interesting because for the first time in a couple of years, there was no Laurel Barker written song. So that's very interesting. It would have happened if Forgive Me Oprosti actually won Dora 2022. However, of course, it didn't happen. So yeah, we got Guilty Pleasure instead, and obviously that didn't do too well. But like Albania, Croatia once again ended up in 11th place in the semi-final. Maybe they should qualify soon, who knows. But if I'm being honest, I don't think I saw a single qualifier in Dora this year. It didn't feel very strong to me at all. So yeah, I don't really have a wish list because, well, I don't know any Croatian artists. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. And with that, let's move on to Cyprus. With Cyprus, we had an internal selection that resulted in the selection of Andromache. However, this year, I think, as I understand it, it was actually quite unusual for CYBC, which is the Cypriot broadcaster, because their usual approach, at least in recent years, is to kind of separate the singer and the song. They have a bunch of people write the song and then they give it to a singer, or they find a singer and then get some other people to write a song for that singer. Either way, yeah, they like to separate the song and the singer, which I think is a terrible idea, but that's a topic for another day. But either way, this year it was quite unusual because it took them unusually long to find a singer who was willing to sing the song. And actually, usually they would announce their artist maybe in January or maybe even December sometimes. However, this year it took them until like late February to find Andromache, and at that point she was assigned the song, she sang it, and well, look what happened. Either way, yeah, it was quite weird because Again, I've been reading a lot of rumors from people, and some of them are confirmed. Some of them we actually know submitted songs to the Cypriot broadcaster, such as Evangelia, and also someone else hinted at someone named Tanya Brazu, who is a Greek Romanian who allegedly also wanted to submit a song to CYBC. I'm not sure whether that ever happened, but we do know that Evangelia did, because that song is out right now. Actually, she submitted multiple songs, but one of them is out right now, and it's called Onira, spelled Onira, and you can find it on all streaming platforms now. Seriously, go listen to it. I really like it. It's the bop of the summer. But yeah, it's been confirmed by Evangelia herself, that she actually submitted multiple songs to both the Greek and Cypriot broadcasters, and well, obviously she was turned down. And I think one of the reasons for that is because, again, CYBC likes to separate the song and the singer, but Evangelia, who I forgot to mention, is actually Greek American, even though she did partially grow up in Crete, the island of Crete. But regardless, Evangelia is Greek American. But yeah, she did write a couple of songs and then send them to the Cypriot broadcaster. However, as we know, they like to separate the song and the singer, so she was turned down. So yeah, there's not much to say here. On my wish list, I do have Evangelia, and also Josephine Wendell. She was a name that was also kind of rumored because she said she wanted to do Eurovision for Cyprus. I think that was in 2021, actually, when she did a weird Greek language cover of Matahari, believe it or not. Yeah, after that, she kind of said that she wanted to do Eurovision for Cyprus, but I don't think she ever submitted a song, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it's very plausible that she could enter a song into to the Cypriot broadcaster. Who knows? But you know, her style is kind of similar to what Cyprus has been looking for in recent years. And another thing I want to talk about actually is a show called All Together Now. It's a show that's originally British, however, it is said to be imported over to Cyprus, I think in 2024 or 2023 or something like that. But originally it was scheduled to be earlier, but the thing with All Together Now is, in case you didn't know this, actually, if you remember the name Michael Rice, he represented the UK in 2019. He only really got to do that because he got attention after winning All Together Now, I believe in 2018, in the actual UK version. And well, look where he ended up in the scoreboard. So yeah, a lot of people immediately recognized that using All Together Now to select a Eurovision representative was a bad idea, and it seems like CYBC had initially picked that up. However, according to the latest reports from OGA Greece, CYBC is allegedly attempting to have All Together Now as the selection method anyway, but it won't be for 2023 but 2024 instead. And for 2023 they'll be trying to look for an actual singer from Cyprus, because again, people from Cyprus are actually are complaining a lot about the fact that oftentimes CYBC just grabs a random singer from Greece proper to sing a song, and rather than having actual people from Cyprus write and also sing the song for Eurovision. So yeah, I guess CYBC is trying to do that, and of course by that definition then neither Evangelia nor Josephine Wendell would fit the bill. But yeah, we just have to see what happens. I'm not sure what Cyprus's short-term or long-term strategy seems to be, but it's all very confusing. So yeah, let's just see what happens with Cyprus, and with that, let's move on to the Czech Republic. With the Czech Republic, we had the usual national final, Eurovision Song CZ, also known as ESCZ, which has been running since 2018. Now, a major rule change that took place in 2022 compared to all the previous editions was that instead of submitting a music video, now artists had to physically go to the CT studios and actually record a live performance of the song. I presume this is because Benny Cristo, who won ESCZ 2020 and was performing in Rotterdam for 2021, actually forgot a bunch of his lyrics on stage or just didn't sing them, leading to the Czech Republic's first non-qualification since 2017. So now, in ESCZ 2022 or 2022 actually, even though it was actually ironically held in 2021, becoming the new earliest national final ahead of Festival Ikungis. It was held in December of 2021, but it's still called ESCZ 2022. But either way, now for 2022, artists who were selected to be part of the selection were now required to actually sing the song live in the CT studios, which actually worked out quite well. If you look at the performance of We Are Dami in Turin, you can actually see that Dominica had pretty good vocals, certainly much better than Benny Cristo, and as such that earned them a very handsome 4th place qualification, and the first qualification since 2019. So yeah, I think that was a really smart move to make, and I think actually ESCZ, even though there were only 7 songs, was actually one of the stronger national finals, quality over quantity and all that. So I think that was a really good move to make, choose 7 really good songs as opposed to 50 songs of varying quality. There might be some gems in there, but generally I think a smaller national final is better, partly because I don't have to listen to as many random songs. But either way, yeah, I think ESCZ 2022 was actually pretty strong, and I think most of the songs in there could have earned the Czech Republic a pretty good position in the final. And speaking of good positions, the OGAE second choice pick by OGAE Czech Republic was actually Jezinki by Judy. Now, if you remember from my top 20 of the national final season, Jezinki is actually really high up there. I believe it's actually second. So yeah, I really, really love the song. I don't think I have the time to explain why I love the song so much. I actually wrote like a little essay about it, and then I never posted it because I thought it was kind of stupid, and Jezinki was probably not going to win ESCZ anyway. But yeah, I actually really like the song. In fact, this might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer the a cappella version over the symphonic version, simply because I feel like it's a little bit more haunting. It fits the vibe a little more, and I think if we saw the great staging that they did with Lights Off, imagine what they could have done with Jezinki, right? So yeah, I really do hope Judy returns to ESCZ sometime soon. I'm actually in a group chat with her, and she says she is kind of considering whether to return to ESCZ or not. She might do that. I hope she does. There was this Instagram post going around a few days ago, which is actually fake, about Judy saying that ESCZ is rigged or something like that. And then, yeah, someone approached Judy and she confirmed that it is fake. She has never said anything like that. So yeah, just a heads up if you ever come across that post. But yeah, I do hope Judy returns to ESCZ soon. And 2 other names that I would like to see return to ESCZ are Barbara Markova, who some have called the Czech Lana Del Rey, which I think is actually a pretty good description. Yeah, her song named, I think, Black and White Holes or White and Black Holes or something like that, which was what she submitted to ESCZ, I believe, in 2020, and I think it was actually really nice, and I hope she returns to ESCZ in the near future. Who knows? I think, yeah, she sings really well, and her songs are kind of mystical even. Some people will call them boring, but I think they're mystical. They sound really mysterious and such. I think they're really nice. And another artist that I would like to see return to ESCZ is Pam Rabbit. However, as I understand it, her style has changed quite a bit since ESCZ 2020. Her song then was actually really good, I think. Though I don't know how it would have been staged or performed. So yeah, I don't know how that would have gone, but her songs in 2019 and 2020 were both very good. However, yeah, again, her style has changed quite a bit, and it's kind of like cheap pop now. So yeah, maybe she could return with something good, maybe not, who knows. But either way, I also want to mention that Judy actually recently released a new single called Taste. It's not really my cup of tea because the chord progressions are a little weird, but I'm sure someone will like it. But yeah, you can check it out. I'm not too big of a fan. But with that, let's move on to our next country, which is Denmark. Now, with Denmark, we had the very traditional and very old national final named Dansk Melodi Grand Prix. Now, the reason I say it's very old is because it was actually started in 1957, just 1 year after the very first Eurovision Song Contest in Lugano, Switzerland. We had the Dansk Melodi Grand Prix as a pre-selection show for Denmark at Eurovision, and it's been running ever since. Now, obviously, the Dansk part in there means Danish, and of course, the reason that's there is to differentiate itself from the Norwegian Melodi Grand Prix, which just goes by Melodi Grand Prix. Now, the ironic thing is this: the Norwegian Melodi Grand Prix actually started later than Dansk Melodi Grand Prix and was actually started in the 1960s, as opposed to 1957 with the Danish one. However, it's the Danish one which actually has to differentiate itself, which is kind of funny. But anyway, I don't think it was very strong this year. I don't think anything would have qualified, really, to be quite honest with you. But regardless, the OGAE second chance pick was Rave med de Hårdang by Full Defect. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. That's how they pronounced it in the song. I don't speak Danish. I don't like the Danish language, frankly. No offense to Danes, but yeah, Danish language does not sound very nice. But yeah, the OGAE second chance pick is Rave med de Hårdang. And yeah, it's a very bizarre thing to see at DMGP because it's very un-Danish at Eurovision, if that makes sense. Denmark, at least in recent years, have given off, in fact in the recent decade, has been giving off pretty much vanilla or cutesy stuff like that. And Rave med de Hårdang is a bunch of, four white guys in Squid Game outfits, dancing around to rave music in the Danish language. So yeah, it was very un-Danish in that sense. Yeah, so I don't really like the song. I like how it stands out. Everything else in the selection was vanilla AF. But yeah, I didn't like the song itself. The guys sounded like clucking chickens, if I do say so myself. So yeah, regardless, my pick would have been Hallelujah by Confessions. Now, you notice that I put a question mark there because, to be honest, I don't think that's a very good song either. I just think that the overall level of the MGP this year was really, really low. Possibly one of the worst national finals this year, next to the German one. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this pick either. If nothing else, Rave med de Hårdang would have stood out a little bit more at Eurovision. Whether it would have qualified is another issue. But yeah, it's very un-Danish, and I don't think it even made it to the super final, which is kind of hilarious. But I did see someone comment on the fact that for the most part, DR is only really watched by boomers now. So as a result, younger people don't really vote for the trendier stuff, I guess. So I guess that might be why Rave med de Hårdang did not make it into the super final. So yeah, I don't know. I know that one of my followers really loves the song. I don't know what they see in it. They sound like a bunch of clucking chickens, if you ask me. But yeah, so it's a very interesting song. If you like it, good on you. I don't know what to say about it. So yeah, either way, Rave med de Hårdang aside, the MGP this year, and I presume many years before, were also just, so damn vanilla, is the word. Like, when you think Denmark at Eurovision, you think vanilla. Even their winner in 2014, Emily de Forest, had a relatively vanilla song, to be honest. So yeah, as a result of this vanilla-ness, if that's a word, they're really much less competitive compared to their fellow Nordic countries. Like, they used to be more competitive than, say, Finland or Iceland. However, Finland and Iceland are actually kind of shaping up to be the new powerhouses of Eurovision, especially in 2021 it was the case, and I think 2022 could have been the case if they had chosen if the Finns have chosen anything other than, the Rasmus. But we'll get to Finland later. But I think just Denmark compared to especially Sweden and Norway Denmark is now a lot less competitive. So I really think they should kind of rethink their selection criteria in order to be a little bit more competitive in Eurovision. Or maybe they don't want to because they went bankrupt from hosting in 2014. Who knows? But they're just not very competitive, even with their cutesy songs. Sometimes, they stand out, but that's not necessarily a good thing. It doesn't necessarily help their qualification chances. Personally, I think their song in 2021 was very good, but alas, it didn't qualify. Not sure what's gonna happen next. I hope they choose more Danish language songs, even though I don't like the Danish language. It sounds better sometimes. Especially 2021. I really liked 2021. Let's just see what happens. I don't have a wish list. I don't know any Danish artists. I certainly don't know any Danish artists that would want to go to Eurovision for Denmark. But let's just see what happens with Denmark. And with that, let's move on to Estonia. Right, up to this point, you might be expecting me to talk about Estonia. And I have, just not here. It's getting near the end of the summer now, and I really wanted to get this video out before university starts again. But because of procrastination and other things, I realized it wasn't really possible to finish recording the whole thing by the end of August, at least at a leisurely pace, which would enhance my oratory. Hell, I haven't even finished writing the scripts for the video. As of recording this, I've only written up to Lithuania, so I figured maybe I should just give it up. Everything from Estonia onwards, and before actually, is gonna be on my blog. There's stuff that happened after I recorded those earlier segments too, so you should definitely check those out as well. Again, I wanted to do this as an entire recording, but one, it would be an insanely long recording if I had read out every single thing in my script, and two, on the blog I can keep continuous updates if there are any. So if you missed my previous video, I have a blog now where I sometimes post about Eurovision or non-Eurovision stuff, and my first big Eurovision post is gonna be a roundup of the Eurovision 2022 national finals, including all the countries that I've mentioned so far. So give this video a like if you enjoyed my very short roundup of the national selections from Albania to Denmark. Subscribe so you don't miss my upcoming videos, which may or may not include some sort of where we're at video. You can find me on Twitter at BlueRigel4, or you can now also email me or even live chat with me on the blog that I made. Link to the blog is in the description, and I'll see you next time.